Good morning, my name is Elizabeth Chimwaza and I'm your tutor for Basic English. The subject code is Polc BE. This is an examination-based content class for 2022. Welcome to Pre-Qualification Certificate Policing Basic English in particular. I am your tutor for Basic English and I will mark your assignment as well as the examination for this subject. I wish you all to be hardworking, dedicated, and self-driven students in this course. This presentation will cover the examination questions, general guidelines on writing exams will be explained, and I'll also highlight certain areas that I feel I need to put emphasis when it comes to this module. Subject overview. This module serves as a firm foundation for other modules. Throughout your career, you will be required to describe events in English in your own words. Grammar refers to the study of or rules for forming words and combining them into sentences. These rules must be applied to enable you to express meaning. When it comes to grammar has so many components and all of the components are as equally important as the other. When it comes to grammar, that's where we look at the part of speech. The 9 parts of speech, we have the articles, the nouns, pronouns, adjective, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. And when we look at grammar, that's where we also look at verbs. When it comes to verbs, we look at the subject-verb agreement. We also have a look at the different verb tenses, which are simple present tense, simple past tense, simple future tense. We have the present continuous tense. We have the past continuous tense. We have the present perfect tense, past perfect tense, past continuous tense, and past perfect continuous tense and past perfect future tense. So these are all the components, and all these, when it comes to grammar, this is where we also look at things like active voice and passive voice. We also look at direct and indirect speech. All these grammar concepts have got rules that needs to be applied to enable you to express meaning. So if you're not familiar with grammar, English will be a very difficult subject for you. So you need to familiarize yourself with grammar and its rules. Punctuation marks can be seen as road signs. So we are also going to look at punctuation marks. Punctuation marks, we take punctuation marks as road signs. That is how important punctuation marks is. So with punctuation marks, just as these signs tell you when to slow down and to stop, so punctuation marks tell how a line should be read or understood. Always remember that if a punctuation mark is not doing anything useful, it should be avoided. Now with punctuation marks, you need to know the types of punctuation marks that you are using. You also need to know the function of the punctuation mark, because if you don't know the function of the punctuation mark, for example the full stop and the question mark, you don't know whether I should put a full stop here or a question mark. If you put a question mark where there's supposed to be a full stop, it means you have changed the meaning of the statement, which is something that you should not do. You should not change the meaning of any statement. So you need to know your punctuation marks. Tenses, I've briefly summarized them. Tenses are used to show the events or action that comes before the other. The verb indicates the time of the action. Combining sentences clarifies meaning, groups related ideas together and cancels unnecessary information. Now we combine, I said when I was here explaining grammar, I spoke about the 9 part of speech that we have, and now in the 9 part of speech that we have, I also said we have conjunctions. Now we come and we use conjunction when we are combining sentences. So now when combining sentences with conjunction, for example, we have conjunctions and, for, or, but, because, although, yet, so. There are a lot conjunctions that we can use to combine sentences. So when you combine the sentence, it should clarify the meaning, number 1. And number 2, it should now group related ideas together. And also, it enables us to cancel unnecessary details. Let's look at now the exit learning outcomes. After studying this module, you will be able to use the basic elements, parts, components of grammar, use punctuation marks, use the basic tenses, that is the present, the past, and the future. Also, combining sentences. I'm not going to go into details with the exit learning outcomes because I already explained it when I was looking at the subject overview. Okay, a continuation of the subject overview. I said the different parts of speech. What is the point of knowing the parts of speech? You cannot fix a car unless you know the names and the functions of it. So as I'm going to say the parts of speech now, you need to know the names and the functions for you to be able to come up with a proper sentence. So if you are required to construct a grammatically correct sentence, you should know how they are put together. Note there are 9 parts of speech in English language. Parts of speech are named according to their function, so you need to concentrate on the function of each. We have the noun, the verb, adjective, adverbs, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, interjection, and articles. Okay? Maybe I can give a brief definitions of the part of speech. The nouns, I said the nouns are the names of people, places, animals, and objects. We have different types of nouns. We have specific nouns, general nouns, compound nouns, collective nouns, abstract nouns, singular and plural nouns, countable and uncountable nouns. Verbs, I said you need to know the subject-verb agreement, and you also need to know the verb tenses. Adjectives are used to describe nouns. They tell us more about nouns. Adverbs are used to tell us more about verbs, how an action took place. For example, with adverbs, we have adverbs of manner, which tells us how the action took place. We have adverbs of frequency, which tells us how often does the action take place. And we also have pronouns. Pronouns are words that are used to replace noun for us to avoid repeating the same noun over and over again. We have prepositions, examples of prepositions: to, in, over, between, across. Conjunctions, I have already stated a few examples, but I said there is and, for, so, because, although, yet. Those are examples of conjunction. And interjections. Interjections are words that shows the element of anger and surprise. We also have articles as part of speech. Importance of punctuation. Just imagine how difficult it would be to read if we do not have the following punctuation marks. Now, bearing this in mind, let's look at the following sentence. The officer walked past the bar talking on his cell phone. An hour later, he was shot and killed. This sentence does not have any punctuation mark. The meaning of the sentence is not clear because the traffic signs, which are the punctuation marks, are not in use. So we need to add full stop, capital letters, and commas. Now it will read, the police officer walked past a bar, talking on his cell phone, full stop. An hour later, comma, he was shot and killed. So number one, I have placed a comma to show you that we have two different things that were happening here. The police officer was walking past a bar, but when he was walking past a bar, he was also talking on his cell phone. And I put a full stop because I needed to separate those two sentences because they have two different ideas. Remember, we only combine two sentences that have the same meaning or the same idea. Now, in order to make sense when you are communicating in writing, it is essential to use punctuation appropriately and to understand the functions and various punctuation marks. The most common conjunction used in combining sentences, we have after, since, as, although, because, but, as soon as, who, that, which, and if. Please note, if sentences are combined, there must be a logical relationship between them, and never combine sentences that do not have the same meaning or idea. Now let's quickly look at the examination questions. These examination questions are discussed as they appear on the tutorial letter for 2022. Here are the following questions. Question 1. Identify the following. Okay, now if we look at question 1, it takes us back to this different types of speech, where I said you need to know the names and the functions and also the examples of the different part of speech, because now you are asked here to identify the countable nouns, the uncountable nouns. So if you don't know or if you are not familiar with countable or with uncountable nouns, this question will be difficult for you. And you also need to identify abstract nouns, proper nouns, regular verbs, personal pronouns, prepositions, or demonstrative pronouns. Okay, I can give you examples of personal pronouns. Under personal pronouns, we have subject pronouns and object pronouns. Subject pronouns is he, she. Subject pronouns is I, you, he, she, it, and we and they. Now, you are asked to identify from text these types of speech. Write a summary of the passage above using your own words. Use at least 100 words using the right punctuation. Okay, now the issue of punctuation is coming back again. For example, for you not to change the meaning of the text that you are given by inserting the wrong punctuation where it's not supposed to be, you need to know how to use the correct punctuations. Okay, so now when you are writing a summary, you are simply stating or writing down the main points from the text in a summary form. And please pay attention here, there is a limitation. You are only asked to use 100 words. So don't write more than 100 words. Question 2. Read the following text and underline the correct answer. You are simply reading the text and you are simply underlining the correct answer. Guys, students, please follow instructions. If the instruction says underline, please make sure you underline, do not circle, or do not just copy, or you just only write the answer. Follow the instruction. Question 3. Rewrite the following passage, insert the appropriate punctuation mark, and correct the spelling and or change the word where necessary to convey the passage message. Now you rewrite. To rewrite, students, is to copy the passage again. You are going to copy the passage again. Use correct punctuation marks. Include capital letters where necessary. Pay attention to spelling mistakes as well. Question 4. Indicate whether the following sentences are true or false by marking an X at the answer of your choice. You are simply going to read the statement carefully and decide whether it's true or false. Question 5. Combine the following sentences. Join the sentence by the correct preposition. So preposition can also be used when we are combining sentences in English. Abbreviate the following words. Write the abbreviation for the words. Write the following sentences in the past tense. What you are simply doing is you are changing the sentences from the present tense to the past tense. Now you change the verb tenses to past tense. Rewrite the following sentences in the future tense. Change the verb tenses to future tense. Rewrite the following sentences to present tense. Change the verb tense to present tense. Identify the tense of the sentence. What tense is used on the verb? Insert the appropriate apostrophe. Put the apostrophe on the correct position. Question 6. Mercy killing. This is an example. You might be asked to write a passage. Not you might. You will be asked to write a passage. Now, this is an example of a passage that you might get. Mercy killing is about to be legalized in your country, and the police as a department is totally against the proposal. Write an article that will be placed in the newspaper expressing your police department's views. You can use the following in your argument. Mercy killing is not only a crime but a sin. You do not have the right to take someone's life. It leads to hallucinations and it's not worth it. Use at least 200 words. So what you need to look at is number 1, do not write more than 200 words. Number 2, pay attention to your grammar, spellings, and punctuation marks. Number 3, your introduction, body, and conclusion should be clearly written. So if you go back to questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, it's just here, subject overviews. So the questions are derived from here, meaning the questions are going to, all the information that you need to know this thing is already included in your study guide. So please go and study. And also with grammar, there are a lot of reference texts and there's a lot of information on the internet concerning grammar that you can use. Okay, now instructions and information to candidates. What should you do in this exam? Provide sufficient answers, meaning do not write too little or too much. Also check the mark allocated to determine the length of your answer. Try by all means to use your own words and refer to your own experience. Make sure your statements or ideas make sense of what you intend to say. Good luck with the examination. Do not hesitate to contact me should you experience some changes in your studies. My contact detail is email zabe.chim@yahoo.com. My mobile number is 0817-356-991, and you can contact me during office hours Monday to Friday from 9 until 4. Thank you and good luck.